of the people. Sahara cover my seas. Sahara.
Still celebrating Black History Month. From May 31st to June 1st, 1921, something happened in the Greenwood district of Tulsa, Oklahoma. That event saw the burning down of possibly the biggest collection of black businesses in the United States of America. As we celebrate Black History Month, we are also remembering some of these things. And a movie, actually, a documentary has been made on this event or incident, which has been nicknamed Blackwall Street. Here in the studio to help us look into what actually happened on that day, and also to tell us about a commemoration of this event and a screening of the movie Blackwall Street, is the president of the committee for the commemoration of Emancipation Day Internationalized, Baba Mahaba Olufemi. Baba Mahaba Olufemi, you're welcome to SaharaTV.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be at SaharaTV.
Okay. First of all, let me ask you, can you give us a very brief description of yourself and your organization?
Okay. I'm a Trinidadian, and I grew up in a multicultural, religious community, and that's where I got my inspiration from. I'm also an initiated priest. If a priest, I was initiated in Nigeria, in Oyo, Nigeria, in 2001. So I've been a practitioner of this traditional religion for quite a while. But as for the organization, I migrated here sometime in 2000, and what I did, I formed an organization, a non-for-profit organization called the Shouters Faith Community Institute of the Performing Arts. And about 4 years ago, I relocated here to New York City, Brooklyn. And that's when the Emancipation, or the Committee for the Commemoration of Emancipation Day, was formed to celebrate Trinidad and Tobago's 50th anniversary of independence under the auspices of the Consulate General Office. And since that time, we have been an independent organization, and we have been hosting Black History Month in collaboration with Medgar Evers College, and as well as Emancipation Day celebrations.
Okay, so talking about Emancipation Day, you just mentioned that the first one that you organized was in connection with the Emancipation Day of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
But we also know about a continent-wide Emancipation Day in Africa. Are these two connected in any way?
Well, we're about to start developing connections because, you see, plantation slavery was international. Therefore, the movement to abolish slavery was also international. So the movement today for a national holiday, wherever on this planet, it's also an international movement. So we cannot be isolated from the continent and Haiti, because we must say that, we must agree that Haiti was the first real emancipators, 1804. And of course, we see the need here in New York City, not only to celebrate and observe Emancipation Day, but to organize with other groups, the politicians, councilmen, councilwomen, senators, all of these people to get on board, and the community to support the move here in this state for national holiday, for a state holiday.
Okay, so where does the internationalize in the title come in?
Or internationalize. Okay, if you look at New York State, it's the one place you're going to find so many people from the Caribbean. I think it's the only place on the planet you're going to find so many of us whose country celebrate Emancipation Day. I mean, Trinidad, Tobago, Grenada, Jamaica, Barbados, St. Kitts, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands. You have so many people from the Caribbean in this one given location. Hence the reason we said internationalize. Okay. This is the starting point.
Does this internationalize embrace Africa? It's
of
the
course,
motherland.
Definitely.
How does Africa come in all of this?
Well, when you look at the source of slavery, it's the continent. You stole people, you deculturalize them, you enslave them, and you have free land here in the USA, so you generated an empire, mass sums of wealth. So we have to look at our ancestors who were forced and uprooted and brought here. We have to honor them, and the best way we can honor our ancestors is to connect with the continent and the people of the continent in furthering this movement for a national holiday for Emancipation Day, a worldwide holiday for Emancipation Day.
Is that all you are advocating for, though, just a national holiday, or are you advocating for something more for black people?
We say in our organization, our ancestors will speak through our voices. That is to say, we're going to tell our stories, because no one tells our story for us. And I think that's by design. So one of the things, whilst our focus for the Emancipation Committee is ultimately to achieve a state holiday here, on the other hand, Black History Month is one of the ways in which we're telling our story. We've been doing this for 3 years now. Last year we did Mandela Was It Worth the Sacrifice. This year is Blackwall Street, because Blackwall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, you had, after 1863, the abolition of slavery here in this country, less than 100 years later, you had descendants of so-called slaves establishing the most affluent community in Tulsa. They owned schools, post offices, restaurants, you name it, they owned businesses. It was a thriving community, independent community, and this was burned flat to the ground. Men were castrated after the burning of Tulsa. They systematically went into those homes, stole all the valuables, then burned that block. Then they went to the other block and did the same thing. You see, Tulsa was a message, was a shining light to Africans living in America. Listen, we can establish independent communities. We can depend on ourselves. Having very little, coming out of civil war, very little, we're able to establish us a community. That means...
Why is Tulsa, why is the Blackwall Street story not in the history books?
Well, so it is for our stories and not in any history books. The organization that started to petition the government of Trinidad and Tobago to establish a public holiday, National Joint Action Committee, that was one of the issues with the colonial administration, the new colonial administration. We need to hear our history in our schools. I went to school in Trinidad, and all I knew about was Sir Walter Raleigh, Sir Francis Drake, and these people. I don't know anything about Africa and Africa's contribution to the world. And this is the basis of race hate. The basis of race hate is that we are told, and it's designed that way, that we contributed nothing to world and the world history, and it's quite the contrary.
Okay, so now let's look at the bigger picture of reparations, because we already hinted on that. For over 400 years and over, Africans were yanked from the motherland and brought here to be enslaved. After so many years, if really those who perpetrated this act are sorry, shouldn't we see some form of reparation? Shouldn't we see, for instance, some, like in the case of Israel after the Holocaust, like in the case of Hiroshima and Nagasaki after the drop of the nuclear bombs, what are Africans getting for reparations for slavery?
Well, it was supposed to be 4 acres and a mule. I don't think we're going to get anything. We have to fight for everything that we want. We have to organize and keep organizing for anything. The native people here, the original people here, what do they have? Nothing. Do we expect the people who was uprooted from Africa and brought here with false promises will receive anything? The native people here was given a lot of promises. None was kept. So I do not expect us to be given anything. Yes, I agree that there's reparation. I agree that we should be given something. That's why we say the starting point for us is a holiday, a national holiday. Why not? That's the most we can do for our ancestors, and even at least now. But the struggle for our right here, for the injustices of slavery, has to be, it's a continuing one. Hence we say that emancipation is not finished. Bob Marley put it very, very nicely. You know, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves will free our mind. We've moved the shackles, but still, we're still enslaved in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways we are. Unless we don't have economic equality in this country or anywhere, unless the resources are not used to advance and enrich human lives, there's no real equality and no real emancipation.
Okay, my time is really eating up. But before we go, let me ask you, you are organizing an event this evening in Brooklyn, a screening of the documentary Blackwall Street,
Yes.
and other activities. Can you quickly touch on that?
We're going to have a short cultural component. We recognized last year from our experience that we cannot put too much of cultural activities in these kinds of documentary where there's a lot of need for dialogue. So we're going to have maybe one or two cultural activities, poetry, that kind of thing, and then we're going to show the documentary. We're going to have a panel of 4 individuals, a professor from Medgar Evers, a student from Medgar Evers, a community activist, and a legal mind. It's a pair. It's a male and a female, a man and a woman who, the gentleman was an ex-police, and he went and he studied law. He's an attorney at law, and his partner, one of them may be on the panel today. I most believe it's the woman would be on the panel. Her name is Christel Perham. So those 4 individuals will have a question-answer period after the documentary. Have the communicate, get involved, look at Tulsa, make comparisons. If when we make their comparison and they see similarity then and today, then we have to have a conversation how we can heal, how we can impact change.
Okay, and where is this happening? Can you give
At
an
Medgar
address?
Evers College from 3 to 6 this afternoon.
Okay, so if you live in New York, especially in Brooklyn, you know where to catch this event. Before we go, though, let me ask, what is your personal experience practicing a culture that is yours bona fide, but that you have been removed from, and then you are now coming back? What's the experience like for you?
It's a wonderful journey because everything that we did and we were told about ourselves. Look at the question of Haiti. After liberation, the white supremacists said it's over. They signed a pact with the devil. So it was a direct attack on African spirituality. Understanding that, I went into this body, mind, and spirit. And my experience has been a wonderful journey. I've also realized over the years too that there are some people who are still, have issues with traditional religion. But for me, it's a peaceful walk. It's about peace to me, it's about more awareness, more consciousness, and I recognize that we have a body of wisdom in this Ifa Orisha tradition that can be used to guide our lives. From the time a child comes into the world to the time you die. That body of wisdom guides us, puts us in alignment with self and the universe and nature.
Do you speak any Yoruba at all?
No. Just basic greetings.
I was going to ask you to say a prayer for us in Yoruba. But
yes, I can.
Okay, all right, let's have one.
This is invocation to Ifa. Ifa lolo ni, Ifa lolo na, Ifa lolo tune. Urumila loji no, mere no usadae, elamu mburu, elamu yinbo ye, elamu yinbo shishe, elaro, mojubao, urumila mo pe, Ifa mo pe, urumila ji.
Thank you so very much, Baba.
Thank you.
Mahaba Olufemi. And our gates are always open. This is your home.
Thank you.
Please feel free to come back. And of course, we really need to keep this discussion going. The emancipation of Africa is not an event, it's a process. This is SaharaTV. There's more coming. Stay tuned.
Thank you.